Welcome back to DBL. There's a lot that has happened this year that no one could have predicted, that's true. The rise of Carole Baskin, though, might be the strangest of them all. A big cat activist from Tampa is now a household name thanks to the popular documentary Tiger King. Well, earlier, I spoke with Carole about how her life has changed in many ways she never expected. So, without further ado, here's part one of that interview, right meow, in today's Chatting with the Stars.
They have a heart and a soul and a mind. I've learned from them.
But Carole Baskin keeps saying, I can't have these tigers.
If he ever had an enemy in his life, it was Carole Baskin.
Hey, all you cool cats and kittens, it's Carole at Big Cat Rescue.
Joining us is Carole Baskin. Welcome to Daily Blast Live, Carole. You just made an announcement, actually, that you identify as bisexual, and that made huge news. I wanted to know if there's a reason you decided to make this part of your life public.
Well, first of all, hey, all you cool cats and kittens.
Yes!
You know, second, here we are. Mother Nature has sent us all to our rooms to reconsider our relationship with wildlife. And when you think about all of the important things that we could and should be talking about, and yet all the media wants to talk about is my sexual identity, I'm old enough to be your grandmother, for crying out loud. Do you really want to talk about your grandmother's sex life from 40 years ago? I don't separate people by what gender they are or what color they are or their nationality or their creed or their religious differences. I believe that we are all one. I just don't separate that difference between male and female. I've always felt like I was both. People are acting like this is some big revelation. Right. It's like it's 40 years ago. And I haven't changed during all this time. It's just nobody ever asked me point blank what my belief was on it. And when I told them, oh my gosh, what a storm.
Let's move on ourselves. Let's talk about Dancing with the Stars. First of all, what was that like? How did you enjoy it? And why did you say yes? And was it as hard as people say? People say it's like the most grueling thing they go through.
Yes, it was the hardest thing I have ever done physically. Oh my gosh, I had no idea what kind of athletes these people were and are. And that's why I still watch every single episode now, because I want to cheer those people on, because I know they have bleeding blisters underneath those socks.
It's true.
Everybody's stuck at home right now. They can't do all the things that we used to do, and we're looking for some kind of diversion, which explains an awful lot of what we just talked about. The fact that they are going through what they're going through to bring that to people, they have no idea what it's like to be COVID tested every day and have that probe sent up into your brain to make sure that you aren't going to infect your dance partner.
Why did you say yes, and did you hesitate to say yes?
After Tiger King, we were approached by over 200 media outlets saying they wanted to tell my story. And then my daughter saw the list and she said, well, I really like Dancing with the Stars. I think that would be fun.
The Tiger King we have to talk about, but out of everyone, you were the only one who spoke up for the cats, anyone. I want to start off with your big cat rescue in Tampa. Just tell us how the park is holding up.
We had closed our gates because the way we do tours is we put 20 people together and we have a tour guide and a backup, and they go through the sanctuary hearing every story about our 50 cats. So we closed our gates to tours, and then 5 days later, I think, Tiger King came out and painted us as this horrific place that was no better than these roadside zoos that were abusing cats. And people were calling me like every 2 minutes around the clock for 3 months, screaming obscenities and that they wanted to kill the cats because they were better off dead than in cages. And so we couldn't possibly let people onto the property with that kind of mentality out there. So that cut down a third of our income. We're talking $1 million that we lost because of COVID-19 and Tiger King hitting back to back.
We are not done talking to Carole Baskin yet. There's a lot more in part 2 of our Carole Baskin interview. Here's a sneak peek. Tomorrow, Carole Baskin dives into her ongoing feud with Joe Exotic, and hear Carole's message to anyone who believes she's responsible for her ex-husband's disappearance. What is your message, Carole, to the people who say you killed your husband? What do you want to be able to say?
It's not just my word against their word. I've got the public record. I mean, you can go to the courthouse that the things that they had implied there are just not true.
Daily Blast Live will be back after this.